up, though, YouTube? The coolest weirdo back. Like, share, subscribe. Hold on. Subscribe. But we about to get into this video by Jubilee. It's called Do All Black Men Think the Same? And I'm gonna answer some of the questions as they go to give people my perspective. And then I'm gonna let the other people get theirs, you know what I'm saying? But let's get into this video. Let's see what they talking about.
I'm comfortable showing affection to other black men.
Am I comfortable showing affection to other black men? Yeah, I mean, I pretty much don't have a problem with it. I mean, back in the day, I used to be like real tough on myself and try not to show that love and affection to my brothers or some shit, but that's dumb as hell, bro. It shouldn't be no problem with us showing love to each other, you know what I'm saying? And then if you watch our streams and stuff like that, even at the end of our streams, we also tell each other that we love each other and stuff like that. Be safe or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I love you, cuz. I love you, bro. So it shouldn't be no problem with stuff like that.
When you come from the hood, you can't tell another black man what's up, or you can't, that head nod is beef. So like giving a head nod to another black man can start beef, can start something that, could go automatically left. It's imperative that we, the new generation, the young generation, we embrace one another, because we as black men, we identify with the trauma that we've all encountered through our lives, and sadly, we're our biggest enemies. So yeah, I strongly agree we should show each other affection.
I actually
That ain't the question.
disagree. The prompt was, do we feel comfortable, like do us individually feel comfortable showing that affection to black men? I moved from strongly disagree to disagree because I do feel comfortable with some black men showing affection, but there was an entirely different generation before me who was very hard on their black sons. My dad's generation was like, you gotta be tough, you have to speak a certain way. So me coming to the picture who's a lot more sentimental and affectionate was completely shunned. My dad was like, your voice isn't deep enough, you're too skinny, you need to eat a burger. Growing up, that made me feel really uncomfortable with certain black men to show that type of affection. Whereas other people of different races, I was like, oh, I can be myself, because they don't care how deep my voice sounds, or they don't care how much I look like, because they literally don't care. When I think about my dad, I wish that I could think of this loving, warm memory, but I don't really have the fondest memories of him. I remember when I was playing basketball when I was 4, or baseball, my dad was like, oh my gosh, and I also look at the pictures when I was young and I would see him like kind of hold me in those kind of warm moments. I would say the shift of our dynamics changed when I started to really step into who I feel like I was called to be in life, and it didn't align with his visions. He wanted me to go D1 in basketball and to be this aggressive force, and when he saw me stepping into more of the artistic, being openly gay, I think that it kind of shifted his perspective, and at the end of the day, he's not a bad guy. Like, he's a wonderful human being. It doesn't change the fact that I love him, regardless.
If we're talking just purely like personally, I've been privileged to not have that experience. My family is really close-knit. My dad's always shown me a lot of affection, and that's encouraged me to show that same type of affection. My cousins, we have extended family, friends, etc. I feel very privileged in that regard. And I mean, I'm open to giving hugs. I like play with my dad's ears. I'm 38 years old. I still do that.
I don't know about all that, man. I ain't trying to play with no dude ears, respectfully. Do you though, big bro?
Over here at Strongly Agree, because when I was being raised, my father made sure that he showed me affection. I remember there was a time where he kissed me. Another family member said, you kiss your sons? And he goes, yes, I do. And I hug them and I love them. So that is how I show them love. But of course, me being a little insecure growing up, I did not show affection at all. And when I had 2 kids of my own, I tried really hard to be able to get through that, to be able to show them affection like as my dad showed me.
I wanted to speak to your point that you made. I think it's important to recognize that maybe a lot of us on this side also were raised under the same conditions of masculinity, meaning you don't say I love you, you don't give hugs, you don't embrace one another. You're supposed to know that I love you, right? But I think times have changed, and I'm a black father now, right? My daughter's 7 months old, like, thank y'all. And being a black father, it is our jobs, as you mentioned, to set the standard for what we want these future generations to, how do we want them to move, how we want them to react, and how we want them to engage with one another. I think times have changed where we can give one another a hug. We can, say, hey, I love you, because life is short and we don't know when our last moment will be with our brother, our cousin, our neighbor. So it's important to
That's a fact. We definitely don't know.
pour into it, and I hope to see you slowly come more on this side one day.
Question, do you feel like most people watching this video will agree that times have changed and that most black men do feel like they can open up, or do you not agree?
I do feel like times have changed, because I do feel like black men are starting to open up and show each other love more, so I can agree that times definitely changed.
Everybody feels that way. I feel like it's a slow progression with anything. I'll give an example with my fraternity brothers. When I originally joined my fraternity 10 years ago, it was very masculine. What's up, bro? Like, you know what it is. But now we may get off the phone and say like, I love you, brother.
Oh,
Have a
that's
great
so
day.
sweet.
You know, keep pushing. And
I just want to piggyback off what he said. It's up to us to break these generational curses and stuff. So I had a rough childhood. I really didn't have my father in my life. I don't know who he is. So like everything I learned, I had to learn on my own, trial and error. Yeah, like it's kind of hard for me to open up too far because my trust kind of messed up. My mom was murdered when I was 3, and I never knew who my father was.
my
So
boy.
my grandma took custody of me first, and then once I became a teenager, my aunt took custody of me. Seen a lot of things I probably shouldn't have seen at such a young age, and going through stuff that grown men couldn't even deal with. It was a lot. I'm
Yeah, man, they need to show that man some love, man.
learning as I get older, that it's okay to be able to open up and show love and, let people in.
Oh yeah, I just want to add like my testimony. Growing up like with my dad, that's probably like the most I've ever interacted with like a black man. Honestly, just like most people have in my life are like black women. And like as a child, I grew up as a girl, so I'm trans. If anyone didn't know that, hey. So he showed me, thank you, brother. So he showed me like a lot of affection because I was like his little girl, right? So like he would tell me I love you, I'll get kisses tucked in bed, like just like princess treatment for real, for real. I transitioned at 18, so like I started presenting like this, right? I started sounding like this, I just looked like a man, and I did feel like a shift in how he treated me. Like I realized that like, okay, now we're really like masculinity to masculinity, like it just felt different. Like I didn't get as much I love you. Transitioning at such like not a young age, but during high school, I think that's like a really pivotal time in my life. And the biggest struggle I had to deal with was honestly like family. Feeling at home in my body is the easy part, like this is fun, but just navigating family life, especially being a black person and navigating life with African parents and all that, that was the hardest part.
I have a question.
I allow myself to be soft sometimes.
I allow myself to be soft sometimes. Yeah, it depends, It really just depends on who I'm around. I'm not just gonna sit here and be vulnerable with everybody. Then it also depends on, how you also look at soft and what is soft and stuff like that. So it just depends.
Yes, this world it's not a place for soft people. If you want to run a business in today's economy, in today's industry, there's no room for soft people.
There's a spectrum, right? There's like soft, and there's like also where you have to be hard. There are times where I have to be blunt, and then there's times where I'm talking to my team like, did you guys watch Family Matters and Blastoise and Pokemon? And then there's times where
Are you doing that on the clock?
Huh?
Are you doing that on the clock, or possibly there's a break?
I'm doing that on the clock, and it serves me very, very well. So like, I understand what you're saying because I feel like a lot of times black men are taught like you have to be hard all the time, but look where it's gotten us, like truly. And like, whereas I see other black people who are in high positions and they treat people with kindness, whether it's business or not, and doors fly open for them. So there's a spectrum. It's not just being blunt all the time.
And I want to hop in right there to your point. At what point are you soft? So I think about I'm soft when I get home, when I'm decompressed.
Yeah, of course.
Clothes off. My wife is there. My daughter's
course.
there. I'm not coming in like, you
No,
need to
I'm
do this,
coming
this.
smoking wood, kicking it, laid back. But when I get into that door, nothing is going past me. So being soft, I'll pinpoint it to the soft in business. I use my platform to do things for others that I wasn't even able to do for myself at the time. In that sense, I was being soft and I was being open and I wanted the best for everyone and everything. It was so frustrating to me. I mean, it cost me my sanity. And so I realized like being soft and having a good heart don't take you nowhere but stepped on.
I can't even disagree with him. I can't disagree with him on that part. Hold on. Let me hit you back, bro. All right, love you too. That's crazy. That was my look, see? That was my brother right there. You know what I'm saying? Told him let me hit him back, told him I love him. You feel me? So but yeah, I don't disagree with Buddy over here, you know what I'm saying? Because I done definitely been in some situations where I was a little bit too open, too honest, too vulnerable, and treating people soft and stuff like that, and it did kind of get me, messed over. So I don't disagree with what Buddy said, but it just, like I said, depends on, you gotta learn how, or not how, but you gotta learn when to use the softness, and then you gotta learn when to use the hardness. Pause. No Diddy.
I just want to say, like, I agree with both of them, but speaking personally for myself, like, that's why I'm at somewhat agree. Like, I'm coming out of there where, I strongly disagree to be soft, and now I'm like learning how to be soft, how to open up, when to be hard, when not to be, you know what I'm saying? So really learning myself and who I am from within, like what I stand for, what I believe in, and that's pretty much the foundation, and then I kind of like go off of that to like, open my wings and stuff. I know for a fact, like, I'm supposed to be a statistic. Like, with my upbringing and everything I went through, I wasn't supposed to live past 25. I was the first one to graduate in my family, and then I went to college. So just try to keep pushing the envelope, in a different direction.
I find that, maybe this is my definition of being soft, going through life with like respecting kindness and just like generosity, happiness. I find that when I'm being soft, I'm much happier, and people around me are much happier. I have my third feature film that I've directed is about to come out, and I'm nice to the crew. I don't treat people disrespectfully, and doesn't mean that you don't hustle, doesn't mean that you don't like try to go for every opportunity. So yeah, I felt very strongly about this prompt, that you can easily navigate life as a black man being soft. I think that we need to actually normalize that way more.
No, that, I can't let that, I mean, respectfully, but it's a privilege to be soft. When you come from what we come from, like to have parents that can provide where you're lacking, yeah, I can be a little softer.
The definition of soft, like what you think soft is, may help better understand like the prompt itself. Like what is soft to you?
Being pushed, a pushover. Being soft, that means, in
no.
this, like it's 2025, you're telling young black men to be soft. You're
That
pacifying
wasn't
them.
the prompt though.
That's what I'm getting. Like, yeah, you can get through life. You can be smooth. No, you can't.
I hear what you're saying. I don't.
You know what? Let's see. It just all depends on how you look at it, and I'm not mad on how he's looking at it, because if we be too soft on our youngins and stuff like that, then sometimes they grow up and end up being pushovers and stuff like that. So it's like, it's basically trying to find that, trying to find a balance, so he won't be too hard, too soft. You know what I'm saying? Like, no Diddy once again.
Don't think that you have to compromise your masculinity in order to be soft. And softness is not for everyone. It's for my family, for my wife, not every single person.
I'm sorry if I said it wrong or if it came out wrong. I believe you are beyond talented and you've done exactly what you need to do to get in the space and the field that you're in. But I think what I was speaking to is you are blessed enough to have a successful father that's there. Without that father there, the young black kid has to be strong.
I have a strong male role model.
You know what I'm saying? I got a few of them, you know what I'm saying? And I had a few of them, I still got a few of them. Rest in peace, my pops, you know what I'm saying? He had a lot of hand in helping mold me to become who I am right now, and I'm just getting better. And then I still have, like, my brothers around me that I watch or that I go to get certain advice, just to better myself. So I definitely feel like I have them type of role models around me.
I'll start out. Yeah, I definitely do. My dad is an incredible role model. This is like one of the great privileges of my life. I was adopted into a upper middle class family. My dad is one of the like top urologists in the country.
Oh, wow.
And he's like focused on, thank you, thank him. He's focused on prostate cancer specifically in black men. An incredible role model. I aspire to be as great as him one day. So
I'm totally shocked that I'm actually really happy that I'm the only one over here, unfortunately. I resonate with so much what you said. I was a child prodigy in basketball. I got a college tennis scholarship and hit up against Taylor Townsend, Donald Young. I have played classical music, I'm learning Italian, and I work for a great company, but the goalpost was always moved. That relationship with my dad and hearing those things or going to basketball tournaments and winning and being like, well, you didn't score enough for the team. Dad, we won. Like, I scored the most points. I got the most rebounds. The goalpost was always moved. And he was a D1 football player, and he did really well in life, but being the son of an athlete who also gives you the same name, the bar is a bit higher sometimes.
I would say I agree, because much like you guys, my parents just worked hard, and I turned 26 this year, and this is the first year my father told me, I love you. I come from Ethiopia, right? Specifically, it's called Badia. And the Badia, the people of the Badia, they're so indoctrinated into their beliefs. Masculinity is something that's a part of their DNA. They don't put sugar in their coffee because it's too feminine.
What? Man, that's the most ridiculous thing I done heard. I don't even really drink coffee, but still, you can't put sugar in your coffee because it's feminine? Come on, man, that's crazy work.
Anything sweet is feminine. So they drink coffee bare. So just imagine being able to vocalize I love you to your son. That's never been a thing. My father has loved me his whole life. He's worked 17-hour days for 26 years, so I'm pretty sure he loves me.
Yeah, he showed you.
You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I would say I agree in that sense, but where I say I don't necessarily have a role model is in the sense of dealing with my emotions. Like I'm 26 years old, and nobody ever taught me how to like deal with my emotions. So even to this day, I struggle with it. We're all just carrying it around, just walking around with it. It's crazy to me.
I want to piggyback off something he said. I just want to say this, and to everybody else who have a father, like, at least he was there. Like, I never had one since I was born, so like all of these things I had to learn on my own, from like the women in my family dealing with different men. You learn what you can while they're around, and then they gone. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's a whole.
I do want to say one thing though to that. Like, I hate that your father wasn't there, but sometimes I feel when people do bring up like at least your father was there, it kind of diminishes the experience of the person who did go through it, and one is not higher than the other.
I get what you say. I didn't mean it that way, but I get what you're saying.
They're just two different walks.
I moved from.
I feel I kind of understand what both of them saying, because like, man, at least you had a pops that was around, but then you got the guy right here, he felt like his pops was a little bit too hard on him, so he felt like he went through. But then again, it's like, yo, Did he say like his dad was still like a good dude though? But he still, so he should feel like his dad a good dude, but then he don't. He say he don't have a strong male role model. I don't know. I might have to go back and check and see if he said that, but I feel like he said that, so I'm a little confused about his stance on this.
Strongly agree to somewhat agree because the question was, you have a strong male role model. I feel like I didn't have an individual who was the role model, but I had to seek out who I had to look up to for whatever it is I was trying to accomplish. But when I was standing on strongly agree, although I do have a lot of positive male role models that I've found throughout high school all the way up into college and thereafter, my dad wasn't in my life because he was incarcerated. So he's always in and out of jail. And I had to kind of navigate manhood on my own. And my mom did what she did, but I think that it's important to realize that you need the dad in the household to teach a boy how to become a man.
So I feel with what you were saying about like,
Know who I'm looking at. Know who I'm looking at.
even though my dad gave me a lot of tools and he worked really hard and he instilled that within me, I feel like my 20s and up, it was like, you better figure it out. And like when you're in a state by yourself, nobody is coming for you. Like when you go to bed at night, nobody's coming for you. There's no one to call.
I've had to code switch both professionally and personally.
This one, I had to code switch both professionally and personally. Professionally, I don't really think I've code switched at all. And maybe that's why it might take me a little longer to get to where I'm trying to get. Because sometimes it's just hard for me not to be me, which is something I'm trying to work on trying to find like a happy medium where I can like hit that mark but still be me at the same time instead of having to like completely code switch and not be myself and start acting like somebody else. Personally, nah, I don't really code switch. I am who I am on a personally. So I'm really me all around, but let's see what they got to say about it.
I had to code switch professionally and personally. When I say personally, I think about situations maybe where I've interacted with police or authorities, and I wanted to present as an upstanding citizen of society, as I'm sure we all have had to experience. And then professionally, I think it's important to identify and recognize yourself as submitting the best work possible and being the best version of yourself possible. So when I do step in a professional space or I am at work, I'm very mindful of how I present. And a lot of times when we have to navigate institutionalized oppression, how we dress, if I'm a white male, I come into a job interview in blue jeans and a white t-shirt, I still may be considered for the job. But if I did that, I am a thug, and all my merits, my education is stripped away. So I know I have to dress up better. I know I have to present, and I have to make sure that I'm articulating my words so I can navigate through society and life.
Do that, I will say my parents made a very clear point to raise me right away. This is how you have to carry yourself in society. I do think it was coming from a place of wanting me to learn you're not going to be perceived the same way as people that are lighter than you. I went to a predominantly white institute from preschool through literally high school, and they I had to use that throughout my entire life. It's just a lot of times people would they'd say it in a joking way, but they'd be like, oh, you talk you don't sound black, or I don't think of you as a black person, as though that's a bad thing. But then I'd have on the other side of things, I'd have black friends that came into the school or that I knew outside of school. Sometimes they call me an Oreo because they thought that I was too white, and so it's just all these weird. I never was able to kind of find this place where I fit in, it felt like growing up. But I think that as a result of that, I kind of became a little bit of a chameleon, and code switching became very intrinsic and just very natural for me to be able to switch, how I'm speaking to, given whatever group I'm in.
Yeah, I moved because we've just labeled it it's not code switching, it's called being professional. And I was cussing since I was a kid. And if you go to any inner city across America right now, guess what them kids are doing? Cussing. Guess what they're gonna grow up doing? Cussing. Then they're gonna be professionals, they're gonna be adults, they're gonna have to conduct themselves in society. And that's tough because when you've grown up cussing, using your own words and slang and all of this, you call it code switching, but it's just being professional. Because I could kick it with the homies and we kick it, and then I get a phone call because I run a hip hop platform and I'm looking for sponsors and whatnot. Then I got, hey, how's it going? Yeah, amazing, totally. So we're looking at approximately this, and that. And then when that phone call, yeah, we finna go over here, we're gonna grab some shots, we're gonna grab lunch. Yeah, it's good, I'm gonna catch you. But that's just professionalism. There's no such thing as code switching. The Asians don't call it code switching, the Mexicans don't call it code. It's not code switching, it's called being professional.
You adapt into your environment. That's what I was gonna piggyback off you and say. It's just the ability to adapt, and it's not easy, it's a learn.
I agree with Cuz, you know what I'm saying? I really agree with him. Would you call that code switching? Nah, I would just call that being professional.
skill. You know what I'm saying? And it takes time. And just like you say, we come from the trenches, and then
Yeah.
you know you got to go and sit in a professional setting. You got to be able to switch it up. But yeah, you got to learn it. You know, as you go, it's a learned skill.
Or we, as voices in our community, need to tell the younger generation we shouldn't have to code switch.
Right.
We shouldn't need to be saying, shouldn't need to be having to come up out of that. This should be natural. Like this brother was saying, you just sound like you were raised properly. You don't sound like a, so you don't have to change. Because your parents taught you how to enunciate your words, how to properly use vocabulary, subject, predicate, all that stuff. So you don't have to, hey, my name is speaking broken English. So you were raised properly. That's dope.
I appreciate that. I hate that we're even kind of talking about this in a way, because what happened to like Black excellence and just, you know, articulating our words, and because when people look at us and the person who speaks articulately in the room, they're like, oh my gosh, you sound white. But this should be the standard for excellence regardless.
Someone in my life had to talk with me about the police.
You know, you already know how this go, man. When you a black man, you know, hey, don't do this, don't do that, speak like this, do whatever they tell you. Ooh, wow. Yeah, come on, let's see what they say though.
Oh my gosh.
Nah, let me start that off, please. So this conversation is, it's so important, right? Because naturally, if you're a fan of hip hop, it's the police, the pigs. Now you're 16 years old, you have a permit. Your favorite rapper been saying the police. So now you get pulled over. And
You know what? I like this guy, man. I like this guy. I fuck with what he be saying, because, and then he be so passionate while he's saying what he's saying. Like, I mess with it, bro.
you're dealing with a police officer for the first time. And this police officer has dealt with trauma. There's an officer who passed away last week at a traffic stop, so he's very tense. And now you're saying, the police, you don't know how to deal with them. I'm not answering no questions. Can you get out the car? No, I'm not getting out of the car. You gotta. I've seen so many of these videos, and the reason why I was so quick to jump on this, because so many of our black mothers are in pain right now, will never recover because their children are dead, because they didn't know how to handle themselves with police officers. And so it is important that we, as the older generation, we tell these young black men, regardless of how you feel about law enforcement, shut the f up and do as they tell you. So we as the adults, we can do what we need to do with litigation. We could do that. But if you die, we can't replace you. We can't go to the law. There's no lawsuit's gonna pay for that. So yes, we have to teach the younger generation. Please conduct yourself properly with these police officers. Make it home to your mother who works hard for you to provide for you.
So I would just
I'm not gonna lie, cuz speaking the truth, man. He been saying some good stuff all damn episode, man. Keep talking, man. Spread that word, man.
to what you said, and I agree wholeheartedly. And my father, who grew up civil rights movement, Alabama, he had to sit down with me and my brother and had a real serious talk about, okay, so if you get pulled over by the police, yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am, take your ID and your insurance out already and have it ready. Do not necessarily stare them in the eye, but actually just make sure that they know that you're paying attention
Make their
to them.
job as easy as possible.
Right, and make it as easy as possible for them so you can just keep it moving. That's what he taught me, and I have a black son. And one time, he decides to go into a supermarket and take his backpack with him. I got a call. We have your son. He's been detained. Please come down and get him. When I got him, I had to say to you, listen, when you go into a store, you are not to carry a backpack with you. And he was like, why not? I said, because you're a black man. They are already looking at you when you walk in the store. And why would you have that backpack with you anyway? And of course, I was questioning him, and he's like, nothing. I'm like, okay, we're gonna talk about this when we get home.
No, I think you made a great point. It's important for us to try to identify all these pre-conditioned steps before you even get in the car. Growing up in Watts, you of course know about police, you know what to say, what to do, where to go. But at the same time, when I started driving as a teenager, I didn't have the opportunity to have this in-depth talk with my mom. My dad's not in the home. So I didn't have a conversation about what it meant to be a black teenager driving in the San Fernando Valley. I kept getting pulled over. Did I ever get a ticket? No. But it would be a series of like questions, and I'll be interrogated. And where are you going? What school do you go to? Oh, okay. And then they would fill me out and I would be let go. But that kept happening to me, and I didn't want to tell my mom because I thought I was doing something wrong. So I talked to my Hispanic friends in my class, my Latinx community, and I would ask them, are you getting pulled over? And they're like, no, I've never been pulled over. And I'm like, so it's just me. And then it's like these light bulbs that are clicking, and it's very scary to be alone by yourself, heart racing, handing over your ID and insurance, and it shouldn't be that. But I will teach my children, male, female, exactly how to navigate that process, because it's more than just a quick tip. It's a life-saving skill, as you talked about.
So I'm on disagree, basically because I never got that, I guess, specific explicit talk from my parents, because again, like I said, I was brought up as a girl, so I think that kind of just mitigated that conversation. I don't know, I just never got it. Now, I mean, it's kind of funny, like a week ago, my mom.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't know why. I don't really know why this person is in the conversation. Respectfully, I don't know why.
She told me like, be careful, I was gonna go out. And I was like, what you mean? And she was like, you look like an African, like ISIS out there. I was like, what? So I mean, that's not the police, but like still like government law enforcement, because like she was saying like, you're a black man, you look like an African man now, so just be careful. So that's like the most I've ever got. But yeah, as a kid, no, I haven't got like an explicit direct, you need to watch out for them, nothing like that.
Yeah, the only reason I'm on somewhat disagree is because like I got the talk in like very piecemeal, kind of. It was like, it would be through just like circumstances. So for example, like I was in the car when my dad got pulled over once, and then afterwards he was like, do you see how I did that situation? And then he's like, well, that's what you got, like that's how you should do it. Like I feel like he did it in a way where he just didn't want me to grow up being like afraid of the police necessarily. He expressed to me once I was an adult a lot more things that he went through as a child that were like really dramatic in that regard. I learned things over time, and that's I think why I'm just on to somewhat disagree. But we all have to learn it because it's just it's reality for us.
Yeah, it's a reality. It's a survival tool.
Yeah.
I want to be like an example. I want to show people that they can make it. It's a mental thing. The way you sharpen your mind is how you achieve these impossible feats.
Once I gave myself the grace to learn and to understand that it's okay to fail, I can keep trying and try again. So now I just set the standard and the tone for everybody around me.
It really gives me joy, like to be building the life that like I really wanted, and to be doing the things that I put on my vision board years ago. If no one's cheering for me, I know that like I'm cheering for myself.
As black men, we are brothers. Let's hug it out.
Yeah. Hey, it's up to us. It's up to us.
Show love, man. You know, it was a decent video. You know what I'm saying? I agree with my man who had on the white beater. Though I agree with him a lot, man. He was saying a lot of things that hitting close at home. But like, share, subscribe, man. Subscribe, y'all. Man, listen. Y'all act like it's hard to hit a subscribe button, bro. Look, this is all you gotta do. You just tip. That's it, bro. That's all you gotta do. Damn, y'all be getting on my nerve, man. I'll holla at y'all, though.
The coolest weirdo.